everyone. Welcome to another episode of Let's Go to Kanto for the 100th time.
Yep.
Will, your 100th time through Kanto.
Well, Keith, we were originally going to make this a three-parter.
Yeah.
We were going to say, first half of the game, second half of the game, then final thoughts. I have all 151 Pokemon.
Yep.
So it might be a little foolish to do 2 more episodes.
And you're ready for your final thoughts.
Yep. Yeah, I got my final thoughts. They're done. This game is back on the shelf. Not literally because, all my games are digital.
Right.
But metaphorically back on the shelf.
Sure.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. You're about to say
Okay, Keith. As we said in the first,
Can I hold that while you
Let's
talk?
Go. Yeah, absolutely.
I want to get an idea of what it feels like.
$50.
Yeah.
So, like we said in the first Let's Go video, this is kind of a throwback to our Blue to Black series that we did, which was in itself a ripoff of Brandon Plays Pokemon from Easy Allies.
Right.
We decided to flip the
Shout-outs.
script. Shout-outs. We decided to flip the script for this one, and Keith was going to interview me on my journey through Let's Go. The difference is that whereas Keith was playing through Pokemon Black, and even with Sun and Moon that we started doing, those are brand new games for you.
Yes, correct.
And while this game is technically a brand new game, it is also technically not a brand new game at all. It's very much a trip down memory lane, a nostalgia fest. So we're not necessarily going to take it beat by beat. Do know, folks, that I absolutely love this game. Personally, for me, probably a 10 out of 10 just in terms of pure enjoyment.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to seem extremely over the moon just because this is a game that I, in its core, have played through probably about 100 times.
Yeah.
So, I just took some notes on things that kind of stood out to me overall throughout the game. Keith, you remember most of Kanto. You remember the Pokemon Tower, stuff like that?
Yeah,
Seafoam
I think so.
Islands?
Yeah.
You remember you remember catching the legendary birds? Like Zapdos and all them?
I don't know if I ever caught the legendary birds. Would I have had to beat the game?
No.
Okay, then I probably didn't.
Okay, well, maybe some of the stuff you won't exactly know.
Sure.
But, so, Keith, real quick, before I get into this game, I would just like to say that this game did something special for me, which is that for the past several months, the Switch has mostly been a handheld for me. It has been a goofy little iPad with goofy controllers attached to the side of it. This game got me to play most of this game on the TV, just because it's the only time we've ever had a core Pokemon RPG that you can play on a TV.
Had to.
And it was magical. It was magical. And it got me to play my Switch as a console again, which was something because there was a thing that I experienced in New York earlier this summer, Keith, where I went to Central Park and I was playing off my hotspot. I was playing Splatoon 2 in Central Park, sitting on a rock under a tree. And it was just like a magical, transcendental experience. Like, it's the kind of thing that Henry David Thoreau would have written about.
Of course, if he was in modern day.
It's something that he would have written about nowadays. And I was out there with Stefan Kelly, hit him up for all your graphic design needs. And also Matt Marrero. But we don't necessarily have to talk about that that guy too much.
Doesn't he have a show where they're on the radio, but they're not?
Yeah, but they're not actually on the radio. Yeah, those guys. Okay, anyway, we don't have to. We're not. Matt, just we're gonna stop talking about that.
Okay,
before I get upset. Anyways,
don't get upset.
Ever since that experience in Central Park, it's mostly just been a handheld for me, but just because it was so magical that I could play Splatoon 2 online anywhere in the palm of my hands, it just captivated me, and my Switch was a handheld up until this game.
Right.
And I played it on my TV, laying in bed, as I said I was going to be doing, laying in bed, catching Pokemon. It was a blast, Keith. I felt like a child. I loved it. But to go into more specific things about the game, you're familiar within this game how what ended up being my favorite thing about this game, Keith, is the Pokemon following you.
Yeah.
How any Pokemon in the game, you can have them follow you.
I like that.
And different ones do different things. Like Mankey, for example, if you have Mankey following you, he's not actually following you. He's running ahead sometimes. He's running off to the side. Just being crazy.
That's cool.
Yeah. Slowpoke walks really slow. And once he gets far enough away from you, he just teleports to you. So Slowpoke. And then like Snorlax, if you take Snorlax out of his Pokeball, Snorlax is walking. You're basically controlling Snorlax, and your character is holding onto his belly like this and like looking back at the camera while you're walking.
That's funny.
Stuff like that. Arcanine, huge big old Arcanine, you're riding around on him. Yeah. You can ride an Onix. Just became my favorite thing about the game because it once again it just like.
So what Pokemon did you ride the most?
Arcanine. Either Arcanine or because Arcanine makes you go fast. He's basically the replacement for the bike in this game because there is no bike.
Oh, okay.
The way that you move faster is just to have a Pokemon that you can ride, I guess. Machamp is also kind of fast too, but I think Arcanine was faster. But Machamp's cool because I ride on his shoulders, and then he holds Pikachu in his arm, one of his arms like this.
Cool.
Yeah, it's cute.
Very cool.
That's the main thing to take away from this game is just how it like contextualizes and put me in this world that I've visited so many times on a tiny little Game Boy screen. Yeah. It just put me in them in a new way. Like in the old games, I couldn't ride around on a Snorlax's belly. Couldn't ride around on an Arcanine. It was just like what I imagined I would have been doing in this world all along. Like I said, I feel like I'm just repeating myself from last episode, but it stands. And then one thing, going back into that, just that how much it put me in this place and like made me think about the world in ways I hadn't before. When I was in the Seafoam Islands, which is where you catch Articuno, it's like the snowy little cave, icy cave. when I was in there, I was like, man, it's probably a little chilly in here. I should ride my Arcanine around in here and warm me up a little bit.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that.
From looking at gameplay, I think that's the most beneficial thing for this game. The best thing about it is that you went from top down to, you get to experience the world. Up until now, it was I have to imagine what this slightly blue-colored city really looks like. What's the architecture look like? What do the people look like? It's a lot of imagination involved, and there's still imagination involved because in real life, people wouldn't just stand in one spot and then turn to you and say like, "Hey, let's battle!"
Yeah,
and then
it is still
you.
pretty rigid. It's still pretty
right.
rigid.
So you still have to imagine some, but at least visually, you can. This is a world I live in, and I think that's cool.
Yeah,
I'm glad you got to do that.
Yeah, and just seeing you saw this in the original games too, where you would walk up to a trainer and they would have a polyworld beside them, but there were only like 6 pre-designed, like an overworld Pokemon can look like one of 6 sprites.
Oh yeah,
Like they're not all like a polyworld will probably look like a Clefairy or something. Like, they don't have models for every single one of them, but now like whenever I would click on whereas in the old game I would walk up to this person, they have what looks like a Clefairy standing by them, I would press A on it and it would say Poliwrath said this.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a Poliwrath. Now it's a Poliwrath.
That's cool.
And it's just,
I love Poliwrath.
just pure simple joys for me in this game, Keith. I'm probably not going to give it my game of the year just because that seems dirty to give a remake and something that I have such nostalgic attachment to. But in terms of just pure enjoyment, I just loved it, Keith.
I'm so glad. So last time we spoke, you were what did you have done?
I'd done the first 4 badges.
Okay, so how was your trip through the last 4?
They were more different than I thought they were. Because like I said that there was a potential for the game to start wearing on me just because it was very, very similar. It's almost like a one-to-one recreation of what the original map looked like. But some of the gyms, they switched up a little bit. Just the way that they look like inside. The one where you fight Blaine in the original games, it's like it's contextualized as like a quiz.
Yeah.
And it's like if you fail the answers, if you answer the wrong thing, you have to battle a trainer. The way that that's done in this game is just so jazzed up. It actually looks like you're on a game show, basically.
Oh, yeah.
And so they just changed it up a lot more. Like all the stuff that they showed in the trailers for this game, which was the first 4 gyms, they were very much one-to-one recreations of the ones. But the last half of this game was spiced up just a little bit more, just to make it a little bit more interesting.
And it's possible that they knew that what you said last time, this could start wearing on me if it's a one-to-one, and they're like, okay, let's spice it up.
Spice it up just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little spice.
And some of the music, I said in the first episode how a lot of the music just sounded exactly like I remembered it to. Maybe it was just because I was paying attention to it more in the past few weeks that I was playing, but I started to notice, like, they did jazz this music up a little bit. They added a lot more little things to it. And, I just wish you'd played this game, Keith. I really think you would like it.
I may eventually do it.
Yeah.
But right now, I know that I'm not going to want to play this instead of Red Dead, instead of even Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
And certainly, what's the date we're recording this is December 1st.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, it's
we
December.
are, a week away?
Yeah. We're 6 days away from Smash Bros.
We're a week away from Smash Brothers. Normally, I let Smash Brothers take up this Let's Go to Kanto episode, but I can assure you I will not be playing Let's Go while that is on my mind.
True that. So let's just go through because I actually was gonna. I told you before the game came out what my team was gonna be. I changed it just a little bit. So let's go through what my final team was.
Yeah, talk about the final team.
So basically, we've gone through the last 4 gyms, a little bit more different than the first ones were. Once again, though, just putting me back, making me feel like it was when I was a kid playing it. So that stuff all stands. What are you saying, Will? What did I start saying?
We're trying to talk about your team.
Oh yeah,
if
my
you
team.
remember.
My team.
Your final team.
My team. Okay. So last thing we talked about, I believe I already had my Champ. Already had my Pikachu.
Of course.
Already had my.
Can you evolve this Pikachu?
No, you cannot. But he has higher base stats than most Pikachus, so he's basically a Raichu.
Sure.
But he just doesn't look like one. I had a Growlithe last episode, Keith. Bite himself.
Bite.
He has evolved. He is now an Arcanine.
I've never had an Arcanine, but I would like to have one.
They're good Pokemon. They're good boys.
Good boys.
Got Gengar. Had him last time.
I love Gengar.
Clefairy Twink. He evolved.
Yep.
He's a Clefable.
Again, see our explanation of that name in the last video.
Yeah. I don't hate the gays. I love them.
He doesn't. We love everyone.
Okay.
We say we love you very much at the end of every episode. How can you be upset?
Yeah, do you think it's just a catchphrase or something? Like what?
It's true. We live it. There's a line of people outside waiting for hugs.
And we're going to give them to them pretty soon. This is the last game talk we're filming for today. We're going to do some handshakes, kiss some babies after this.
That's right. We're kissing babies.
So we're going to wrap this up. Twink, Clefable, and then I was going to use a Starmie, Keith, but as soon as I caught a Slowpoke and I saw him follow me, I was like, this guy's going on the team. This guy's going on the team. You know what I named him?
What?
Doofus.
Doofus.
So I had a Slowbro.
That's so mean. That fits so well into this world where you catch these cute animals and make them fight each other till they pass out.
Go Doofus. Yeah, so just to put them all up on the screen, we got Pheno, the Pikachu. We got Fright, the Gengar. We got Bite, the Arcanine. We got Doofus, the Slowbro. We got Madam Muscle, the Machamp. That's 5?
Yep.
Champ. And did I say Arcanine already?
No.
Clefable.
Clefable.
There we go. I did say Arcanine.
You did say Arcanine, you didn't say Twink again.
Okay, Twink.
That's why
Twink
I
the
remember.
Clefable. There we go. Okay. And then I wrapped it up. Keith, actually, before I went to the Elite Four, there was a funny little joke.
Sure.
There's a meme that we have where I don't know if you remember exactly from the first game, but whenever Professor Oak's asking you what your name is, you tell him your name. Then it lets you put in your rival's name, and he's like, "And this is my grandson. What's his name again?" And everyone was always like, "Wow, Professor Oak doesn't know his own grandson's name." Whenever you go at the end to meet Professor Oak and your new rival, who is also, or no, I guess it's Blue. Yeah, it is Blue. It's not your new rival. It's actually Professor Oak's grandson is in there. Whenever you talk to Blue, or he's about, like, you go talk to Professor Oak, you're like, "Hey, I got all the badges." Yeah. And he's like, "Now go to the Indigo League or whatever." Blue is in there too, his grandson Gary, and you walk in and Professor Oak's like, "Oh, you haven't met this guy yet. This is my grandson. What's his name again?" And then Gary goes, "Come on, Gramps, that joke's never funny." So it was a joke all along.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a joke. He didn't actually not know his grandson's name. He was just joking with us. So they just, they ended that meme. They silenced that meme from over 20 years ago in this game. And that moment put a smile on my face.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, or you can tell me that this is obviously not it, but do you think it's just a response to the meme? And
Probably.
Not a correction?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I don't think they're like, "We didn't get our joke." And they actually used the mechanic we put in to name him. Yeah. How could they not understand our joke? I'm sorry. I'm not making fun of you.
It was really
cute. It is cute. I'm glad they did that. I'm glad they made you chuckle.
Yep. And then I fought the Elite Four. Same exact Elite Four as the original game. Same
Not
guys.
tough?
Not really tough.
Just took them out?
Yeah. My team was their teams were mostly like early 50s, and my guys were approaching 60. So yeah, it wasn't hard.
Isn't it funny? Again, it just makes me laugh. Like, if you play this game quickly, hey kid, how old are they when they start? 10. Mm-hmm. Hey 10-year-old, guess what? You live in a world where Pokemon fight each other, and there are trainers who spend their lives devoted to training these Pokemon to fight. There are 4 in our country. There are 4 Pokemon trainers in our country that are the best. They cannot be beaten by anyone else. They're the Indigo League. Mm-hmm. If you are to succeed, you must beat them all, 10-year-old.
Easy.
By your first birthday, by your 11th birthday, you've beaten them all.
Yeah, you caught Mewtwo,
and you've been in the Indigo, and you have beaten them all probably for the last 360 days, because it didn't take any time at all for you to do all of this. I just think it's. Could you imagine, like, I am like a dojo, like karate. I am a black belt master.
I do kind of feel bad for all these Elite Four
members. Yeah, and it's like a 10-year-old walks in and he's like, "Hey, you! I'm better than you."
Yeah, okay.
And then he just mops the floor with.
Yeah, sweeps them.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to. Again, I poke holes in the Pokemon universe all the time.
I get that it's all a big joke to you, Keith.
But everyone does it. I mean, I know you're playing. You think too hard about games and not be thinking this too.
Yeah. It is pretty goofy.
It's okay.
And then, the one thing that is different, though, Keith, I mean, it's not really different. You don't fight Blue at the end. You fight your new rival. But once again, like the original Yellow, you're fighting your rival. He's the champion.
Yeah.
Your rival in this game is, as they've done for the past, going on 20 years now, every Pokemon game since Gold and Silver, your rival's not really a jerk like he used to be. He's kind of a nice guy. Okay. And they drive this home. There's some symbolism I noticed in how he's a nice guy. Because you remember the Cubone, the backstory with Cubone, how Team Rocket killed Cubone's mom and all this stuff? That's why Cubone wears the skull.
Every Cubone?
Apparently. I mean, not really, because, I mean, they all hatch out of the eggs with the bones on their head, but that's like that's the lore. Okay. Is that Team Rocket, that's what you're doing in the Pokemon Tower. You're trying to calm the spirit of Cubone's mother. But yeah, basically, after that run-in the Pokemon Tower with the Cubone, Trace, who is your rival's name, he's got a Cubone on his team for the rest of the game. So it's like he took in the little orphan Cubone.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah, and then he's a Marowak by the end of the game, so it's just like, oh, that's cute. He took in a Cubone. Yeah. Good guy, Trace.
That's cute bone.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and so yeah, Keith, for a game that I loved and played, I beat the game in under a week, 35 hours, put in 35 hours in under a week.
Woo!
Loved it, but also I'm not going to sit here and say it's the greatest game ever made. Because, I mean, it is what it is.
I appreciate you for telling the truth.
It is what it is. Yeah. It's a reimagining, a slight remake of Yellow. It's not amazing. I am glad that a lot of the critics, though, and a lot of the naysayers have come around on it.
Yeah.
they've come around on it. So that feels good.
Not as bad as we thought.
The sound of me being right.
I've seen a couple of YouTube comments on some reviews that were pretty salty.
Yeah, a lot of people are salty that the critics came around on it.
Yeah.
They're like, man, I thought we were all going to hate on this game together. What happened? 81?
Yeah.
Give me a break.
We're like 18.
It got review bombed too, and the Metacritic, the critics score is 81, and I believe in the user score it's in like low 50s.
Ooh.
Just because people were like, oh, this isn't right. I'm gonna go bomb it with these zeros. Blah blah. Childish.
If you
Childish.
did that, meh. That's what you sound
You
like.
did that. You're childish. I spent $50 on this, guys.
Yeah, that's also childish. We're not trying to alienate you. You do you.
Yeah.
Free speech and all.
Nothing wrong with being a grown man, baby.
Exactly. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about Let's Go? I know this video hasn't been quite the, we can't deep dive like you said, like we did with the situation. This is probably about a 15-minute video,
Yeah.
If you have any other final words on Pokemon, but I'm not going to try to beat a dead horse.
I just want everybody that hasn't bought it to go buy it. It's a fun time. It's a joyride through Kanto, like I've said.
Yeah.
Good time, glowing praises. Love the game. Good game. Good job, Nintendo. 2018 was a little weak. There were not a whole lot of big games up until Smash at the end. But, Pokemon, I got my joy. I got my Nintendo joy for the year.
Take
so
your
I'm happy.
joy.
Yep.
Remember to take your joy.
And you got to get this game soon, Keith.
I will eventually get it. In the meantime, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us how bad Pokemon Let's Go is and prove Will wrong.
Tell me what your team was.
Yeah, but we would actually prefer to hear what your team was.
Yeah.
Kevin, we know you're going to tell us what your final team was because I know you beat that sucker already because you're Kevin, friend of the show. Nothing stops Kevin, friend of the show. Everyone else out there who's just slightly less good than Kevin,
get good,
please,
number one.
Get good and comment. We will see you in the next video, and remember, we love you very much.